The topic for discussion today is impromptu speaking. When I first joined Toastmasters as a guest in Madhapur, I remember in April 2016, and when I heard the word table topics, I thought, what is it? Do they put something on the table? So I remember asking Harsh, he told, we will tell you when that section comes. I felt as when they asked to volunteer, I was as nervous as a rat. And I felt very awkward walking to the stage and speaking. And surprisingly, I got the best speaker. Maybe they wanted to support me. From that day, I have seen that when I'm in a better mood and connect to the topic on that minute, thoughts and words flow easily. Otherwise, I make a fuss about it. Let us see today how to be good at it in a consistent way. Let us use all the listening skills Toastmaster of the Day has told us. To help us with that, we have three wonderful panelists. The first panelist is DTM Harsh. Let me tell about him. All of us in Madhapur know about him, but for the benefit of the guests who have joined for the first time, Harsh is a double distinguished Toastmaster, a member of Toastmaster International since 2006. He calls himself Bhishma Pitama. That suits because he has been there for long. He has bachelor's in mathematics with honors. For the past many years, he has been exploring the human capacity of human mind through neuro-linguistic programming. Harsh has completed his global certification of master practitioner of NLP with Dr. John Grinder, who is the founder of NLP. Harsh enables individuals to transcend their perceived limitations and redefine their risk taking capacity in every area of life. He's also a certified hypnotist from New York, USA. Harsh is currently the serving president of Madhapur Toastmaster Club. Let's all welcome with a big round of applause. Our second panelist, whom I put it as a suspense till now, is Toastmaster Manasa. She did her MBA from the renowned Indian School of Business and currently working in Google as a product support manager. She loves playing caroms, badminton, squash, and table tennis and is currently learning piano. She enjoys canvas painting and doing mandala art in her free time. She has been a Toastmaster since 2011 and currently a member of Accelerator's Mayapur Toastmasters Club. She has been district level contestant in evaluation and ISE contest and the first runner-up in district level table topic contest. Let's all give her a big round of applause. And thank you, Manasa, for joining as a panelist. Our third panelist is Toastmaster Shivakumar. Shivakumar has done his MBA from University of Liverpool, England. He is currently the managing partner of Kailash Enterprises and KBL Enterprises based at Hyderabad. He's the director at Varalakshmi Group Automobiles Private Limited, which is based at Nellore and where the Tata Motors business is done. He's also the director of KSN Automobiles Private Limited, which is based at Chennai and where the Honda two-wheeler business is done. With so many hats over his head, he still finds time for his passion, which is public speaking Toastmasters. He was influential in starting the Hyderabad Gavels Club for 10 to 18 years old kids, where his son Hitesh, who is in 12th grade, is currently the president of the club. Let's all welcome him with a good round of applause. Sorry for the sound, the vendors going on the street.
Same is happening here. They're selling Loki or something, man.
The first question is to DTM Harsh.
Yes.
I have seen many times that when others are speaking, I get all good ideas. Or when I stop speaking and the speech ends. How can we, many people have told that, whether members or guests, how can we get better ideas while we are speaking?
By getting better experiences.
Can you talk more on that? Like how you became better at it as a Toastmaster?
So the idea that people usually begin with is that, oh my God, I have to convince these people. That's an incorrect notion to begin with, in my opinion. if you really have to get better ideas, it's always about your own life experiences. People, irrespective of their age, even if it is a 5-year-old or even if it is an 11-year-old or a 23-year-old or whoever, they have had X number of years of experience with their friends, with their family, at school or whatever. And that is what becomes your life story. So when you are talking about not getting ideas, you're talking about a perfect thought that you wish to convey or express, and therefore maybe get the applauses or get people to laugh. But that's never the purpose. The purpose of any speaking is to connect, and people connect with emotions. Emotions you will gather in any experience. Even right now, everyone who is listening has some emotions that they can refer to with this listening experience. So the answer is gather experiences to be able to have better thoughts, especially about your own self. Over to you.
Thank you, DTM Hush. Uh, the so I mean, we all have life experiences, so let's recollect them, and we can use that when we are speaking. The next question is to Toastmaster Manasa. We all speak impromptu in our lives, whether in a personal life, professional. But when it comes to Toastmaster platform, they tell that it should be having a proper structure, good opening and ending to make a mark, especially in the contest. How do you do that? And what are the suggestions you give to the audience?
Okay. Okay. First of all, it comes with practice. And I don't suggest somebody, let us say, if I am a new Toastmaster or if I have somebody who is beginning to speak in impromptu or taking part in impromptu speaking, my focus is not in having a not in delivering a structured speech or structured table topic speech. My focus is to express. My focus is to give out my thoughts in the best possible way. That's my focus. So let us say if I keep speaking, it becomes a consequence because Toastmasters is a complete program, right? So you learn how to structure your speeches through prepared speeches, and your brain automatically gets tuned to it. Like when you think or when you speak, because you keep practicing and you make a conscious effort to have a structured speech in prepared speeches, slowly, sometimes you might not, but it's perfectly fine. Slowly it becomes a habit when you speak in table topics also. So you don't have to make any conscious effort to have structure in table topics, because when you make a conscious effort in your prepared speeches, table topics will become a consequence. That's my first thing. So don't make an effort to have a structured speech. Make an effort to express your thoughts on that particular topic in that particular moment on that particular subject. That's it. So that's the tip. And yeah, I think even before that, the main tip is to speak. Don't worry. Don't worry about, I mean, I will plus 100 to whatever Harsh has said. Don't worry about convincing people. Don't worry about impressing. It's about you got a topic and you got an opportunity to express. How good it is to have 100 listeners, or, more than one listener who can listen to you, listen to what are you speaking for 2 minutes. So that's the opportunity. And then get excited about the opportunity, get excited about the topic, and get excited about speaking. Don't worry about impressing or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, the first tip is that, and the second tip is don't worry about structure and all that, just express. And structure and everything will fall in place if you put in effort in the prepared speeches segment, and your brain automatically gets to it. So that's my thing.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manasa. So let's all take a chance whenever we get in Toastmaster platform to speak and just start expressing. And the structure comes automatically when you also make an effort to give your prepared speeches. So both together, we can make it wonderful. Toastmaster Shiva, your take on that, how you mastered the art of impromptu speaking.
Yeah, for me, initially it was the content. Actually, if it is one-to-one, I was very comfortable speaking with people, expressing myself, sharing what I had in mind. One or two people was okay, but speaking to a gathering, speaking to an audience was always a challenge. And yeah, for me, I feel that we should have a structure in the beginning days, in the starting days when you're speaking to an audience. We should have a structure. Structure in the sense when a table topic, impromptu speaking table topic is given, explain what the topic to you is about. Explain to the audience what the topic is about. And then describe a story either somebody's story or our life experience, connecting to the table topic, and then make a conclusion saying that what the topic, the benefits or the disadvantages of the topic, or the benefits, a kind of a summary and a concluding point that would be a takeaway for not only yourself but to the audience also. And then gradually, when you do this over a period of time, you don't have to bother about the structure because you've already started with the structure in the beginning, from the beginning. So it becomes a routine and it becomes a part of your impromptu speaking skills. Yeah, that way. Yeah, I feel the story, the experience, the real life experience or the story which you describe and connect it to the table topic, that I feel is a very impactful thing to do. So something which the audience will remember for a long, long time.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shiva. Like even Harsh has told, remember your life experiences, connect to the topic and give that be the supporting material to the topic. Thank you, Shiva and Harsh for that. The next question is for all three of you because many members have asked me this question. Some say that we should pause for 7 to 10 seconds when, especially in a contest, when they give a topic and then start speaking. Some say that the first thought which you get in your mind, you start your speech with that. So what is your take on that? DTM Harsh.
No, this one to be answered by Manasa, please.
Okay. I know I have seen Manasa is like, she's too quick. Like Virendra was telling, we generally speak at 100 to 150 words. I think she speaks at 200 to 350.
No.
And I have to be
Manasa
really very attentive to understand what she tells.
No, Manasa is 1,000 words per minute.
Okay, understood.
So there's a training ground for us to improve our listening skills.
Oh yeah, I that's a good way to look at it. Okay,
Yeah.
Manasa. Yeah, so firstly, I don't want to put those conditions when I go on stage. That's my first thing. I don't know if this works for everybody, but this is what that works for me. And it might not work also, but that's what I do. So I go on stage, I listen to the topic. If there is a thought that comes up, I just speak. If I don't, I will obviously take time, that 5 to 7 seconds. But it so happened so far that I never take time because I'm always in the rush to speak. Rush as in, my thoughts just flows just like that, It might make sense or it might not make sense, but I just go on and speak. So I don't say, okay, now I'll go on stage. Let me take 5 to 7 seconds. Let me think what topic I come. All that I will never think. Generally also outside as a person, I never think before speaking. So that's what I follow in table topics also. So I can't, but there are people who actually think before they speak, they are very composed and then they want to evaluate their example and then structure it in that 5 to 7 seconds and then speak. That also works. But for me, that didn't work. That I never make a conscious effort basically. So that's my first thing. And secondly, coming to speaking about the first thought, speaking of the first thought that comes or the second thought or whatever. Yeah, I have heard people saying, discard your first thought and go for your second. What if I don't get a second thought? So I don't care, First of all, speaking on the topic and getting thoughts on the topic itself is a big thing. And then after discarding and all the drama, I don't want to do in the first 10 seconds. So I just speak whatever comes to my mind. If it goes well, if it goes well. If it's not, yeah, there is always a next time. So that's how I handle this. Yeah.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manasa. Even like I tried many times to pause, but it never happens. I always think after speaking, I should have paused, but I cannot pause. Like whatever comes to my mind, I speak. DTM Harsh, your take on that. How do you do?
The only thing that happened right now when all of what Manasa was sharing, the only thing was happening was the recent district level table topics contest that happened. And I sucked. I remember okay, club level, awesome. Area level, awesome. Division level, awesome. I am on cloud 9. And then district level, what the hell happened to me? So I believe that, okay, you can prepare for it by practicing, which I completely agree with Manasa on. But it's a lot more to do on that day by what kind of state you are in. I remember now I have deconstructed it twice, that my state that day on the district level contest day was not good at all. And because I was not in a higher state of my own self, my thoughts weren't at all on the topic. because of which I have no idea what garbage I spoke on that day. But if formulas apply to you, like a 7-second pause or a 5-second pause, or the first idea, or the second idea, the third idea, if stuff like this helps you to kickstart what you want to speak, go for it. If you are someone like Manasa or me for whom the flow of thoughts matter, then you are more of an emotional kind of a speaker. You would rather connect to the feel of the topic, because it is, again, never about connecting to your audience right away. It's about firstly connecting to yourself, and only then you can connect that thought to the audience. So I personally wouldn't put a limitation of that. I might use it as a tool or a resource that, okay, I do have 5 to 7 seconds. The judges won't judge me in a table topics contest. But in a real life scenario, the only thing that probably table topics can do for me is maybe help me in interviews, or maybe help me in a situation where I am expected to speak on a topic that I'm not really prepared for. So those are two very stark contrast with which you would consider this formula of a 5 second or the first thought that occurs. Practice, like Manasa said, practice that and see what works for you and come up with your own style. That's what I would say.
Thank you, DTM Harsh. So, like, as we all heard, not any formula works for all. So see what works for you, but practice works for everyone. Toastmaster Shiva, your take on that? Like, what do you have any technique, especially when you're participating in a contest?
Yeah, contest, I would like to follow what I said. I mean, explain the topic to the audience. I mean, what you know about the topic, what you feel about the topic, and then give a story or an incident connected to the table topic, and then make a conclusion. But when it comes to pauses, I feel that we shouldn't pause for a long time. We should pause when we make a powerful point. When we make a powerful point to the audience, then give a 2 second, even 5 seconds, 7 seconds is too long. Just give a 2 second pause when you make a powerful point. When you deliver something very impactful, you want the audience to treat it as very important. Then what happens is the audience, they also pause and they try to uh, take in the crux of the point, what is being conveyed, and then go on with your table topic speech. But when if you do it, if the pause is very long for 5 seconds or 7 seconds, then the audience would think that we've forgotten something or we're trying to recollect something. So that's not a good characteristic of a good speaker. All this can be overcome by practice, by regular practice. Uh, Initially, I still remember in the initial days when table topics was given, what the topic is and what I spoke was totally different. The topic was something, only immediately I came back and sat, I realized, what did I speak? What is the topic? It didn't take much time for me to realize. Just immediately after the topic, after my table topic speech was done, I realized that what I spoke was not connected to the topic at all. I should have spoken like this, whereas I spoke like that. It was only gradually, eventually after a period of time where I could connect to the topic and speak more sensibly. Otherwise, it was not very sensible in the initial months or years. What I spoke and what the topic was about was totally different, actually. That's
Thank you, Shiva.
with regular practice, we can overcome.
Okay, so as you all know, practice is being repeated. So whenever you get a chance in the outside Toastmasters deck, just take a chance to start speaking. The next question is to Toastmaster Manasa. Sometimes in a contest or in a normal table topic section, what if I don't understand the topic or don't connect to the topic? How do I proceed? Like, or how do you do? Like when you totally don't connect or don't understand, what do you do?
Okay, first of all, this happened to me. This is not new. This really actually happens every time. I'll tell you 3 instances how I handle it. Point number one is when I don't know if Harsh was there. Harsh, do you remember HTM special meeting? So they have these topics only on only on some genre, okay. And then they asked me, do you think capital punishment should be banned? Something like that. And believe me or not, I don't know the meaning of capital punishment that time. I didn't know the meaning of capital punishment, and there is nothing that I could do about the topic without, I know only punishment, right? I mean, I can't speak on punishment. Capital punishment, I know is something different, but I didn't know. And I walked off. I just said, sorry, I don't know the topic. And then I walked off the stage. And then HTM being HTM and being nice, and then they gave me a separate topic. And then I tried to speak on the topic. I came back, but I didn't feel bad. You know, by the time I overcome the fact that, oh, what if people think that I'm a bad speaker? So I never cared, you know, after a brief point of time, I never cared. So it's like, oh, I wish I knew about capital punishment. So that was the feeling, because I couldn't proceed at all that time. That was very new in the beginning days of Toastmasters. And second, there was a contest, area level contest. I didn't know the meaning of perish. So there was a topic about knowledge, wisdom, and perish. And I don't know the meaning of perish. But I kind of sensed that, okay, it might be something. So I spoke on knowledge and wisdom only. I didn't even talk about perish. I only spoke about my views on, okay, what knowledge is, and how, if knowledge is not converted into wisdom, or if you're not wise, how will it affect you, and how knowledge goes in waste. But fortunately, it fell into the, it actually matched the topic. But that's what I did, because I picked up the words that I understood without worrying about the words that I did not. That was my second thing. And thirdly, what you can do is, let us say, if in the hindsight, if I were, or let us say at this point of time, if I get a topic where I don't have absolute clue on, I will probably say why I don't have absolute clue on the topic. Because the objective of table topics is to speak and express your thoughts. That thought need not be on the topic. Of course, that's the best possible way, but maybe I will speak why I don't have thoughts on the topic, because I'm so occupied with myself that I didn't have time to know about capital punishment. Maybe that's how I will go and handle the topic. What happens is I'll not win the contest, which is fine. But 2 minutes of stage time is a priority than walking off the stage, right? So that's how I will handle.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Manasa. Like, I heard some people tell, when you don't understand, try to divide the total word into something to which you understand, make sense out of it, and start speaking. The next question is to DTM Harsh. Like, whether it's a prepared speech or impromptu speech, or when you're normally speaking, you have a very soothing and calming voice, and you have right pauses. That adds to the impact of any speech you make. Can you give any suggestions of how to inculcate that? I mean, some good voice modulation or something in our speeches.
So, firstly, stop watching movies. That has got nothing to do with voice modulation. That is pre-prepared, concocted, designed storyline by someone who thinks what people want. That has got nothing to do with public speaking. So please delete that notion. That is first. That's a wrong formula that we have all grown up on. Second thing, what I would like to say is that there are definite certain specific exercises based on voice, and the simplest of them I can show you right now is that if all of you can do something to the effect of putting your fingers on your throat and just speaking to yourself for a moment, say hi or hello or whatever, you'll notice that the voice box here vibrates. But if I ask you to slide the hand down to your chest and speak from here, you will feel that the voice still comes from here, but the breathing is occurring and generating from here. But what if I ask you to slide it further down, just between your chest and your navel, and speak from here? If you notice, there is a slight dip in my voice even more. But if you can go all the way down to your tummy, which you can't see right now, all the way from here. And for this, you have to lower your volume. You have to lower your pace of speaking. But if you speak like this, you will become what Manasa usually does. Not to say that that is wrong. All I'm saying is that there is a variation of a scale which is present. That is one. Second thing for improving voice quality is practice singing. Now, that might say, some people may say, oh, I can't sing. I'm like this, I'm like that. Sure, that is fine. You may be. I'm not asking you to become Arijit Singh for your girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse or whatever. No, that's not the purpose. The purpose is singing just even the songs that you like induces in your voice box the capacity to be able to modulate the tonality, your own tonality. And songs have emotions. Most of the Indian songs have emotions. And if you are able to project even 1% of it, trust me, you have done a lot more for your voice ever than you could have done in your entire life. So these two things specifically, the breathing exercise or noticing the depth of your voice from the throat all the way down to your tummy, if you can practice that, that is something you can do. You can practice singing. And thirdly, practice speaking in high pitch and low pitch, like reading out text for yourself, not newspaper or anything, something that you maybe like reading or understand. If these three you can do, definitely you will alter the quality of your voice. And of course, everything else is practice.
Thank you, DTM Harsh, for such wonderful tips. Let us all use it on a consistent basis and see how our voice quality improves or deepens. Now I have come to almost the end of the panel discussion. The last question I would ask all of you is, we all get tense before a contest, or what are your things, like suggestions, one suggestion quick on what do you do to uplift yourself or to calm yourself? Toastmaster Manasa.
I don't do anything. I feel nervous. And I
Okay.
want to feel nervous because those are good feelings that you go through. When you're feeling nervous, it essentially means you really care about yourself and about the audience, and which is good. So I feel nervous. I keep feeling nervous, and on stage, everything vanishes. And then that's all good feelings, good anxiety, good nervousness. So I think you should feel all this. Don't avoid those feelings. That comes naturally. Let it happen naturally. So, and then secondly, maybe if you're feeling nervous, which is negative, which is, oh, looking at other contestants, oh my God, I cannot contest with this person now. He will win. I might not be the person, who might match up, and I might not win the contest. If these are the feelings, that is something that you should avoid. But there's a good nervousness, but there's bad nervousness. And the bad nervousness part of it is something that you should not worry, which is, don't focus on winning the contest or don't compare yourself or others. Remember that you are there, who brings in a unique perspective to the stage and unique value to the audience. That's what you should believe in. Yeah, that is the feeling that you should avoid feeling about comparisons or jealousies or the contest winning things and all that. But the good nervousness and anxiety, oh, what topic will I get? How will I speak? Will I be my best self on the stage today? And will I understand the topic? So these are the feelings which are good to have. Keep feeling them.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manasa. So it gives us more confidence that be yourself. Even if it is anxiety, let that add to your speaking value.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Shiva, like your take on what do you do to calm or like be prepared before a contest?
Yeah, before the contest, yeah. When my name is called or it's going to be called, my heart beats very, very fast. I've still not overcome that. I mean, the heart, making it normal before I go onto the stage. Just beats fast. But I know, but even then I go in spite of that, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is going ahead in spite of having the fear.
Okay.
Whatever we fear in life, we just have to go ahead and face it, and then we overcome it. I know
Thank
that.
you.
Just a matter of time before my heart comes to normalcy, before my name is called out onto the stage. I'm just
Okay.
anxiously waiting for that day. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Shiva. So, Shiva told, courage is the ability to move forward in spite of having the fear. Now, DTM Harsh, like your suggestion as a healer therapist for people, audience to calm.
Of course. Now, I will not tell you about breathing techniques because that's what people expect. But I would say this, since we were thinking of formulas today, so let me give you a formula. State over structure over content. Now, when I say state, it is not just a mental state. It's the state of you, the state of well-being, the state of peace, the state of calmness, your physical state, your mental state, all of it put together. That is the first thing in anything that you do, no matter what it is. If your state is under control, there will automatically be a structure for you by your own experiences, and the content will flow on its own. You will never have a dearth of ideas. This is the point that I missed during the district level table topics contest. But yeah, state over structure over content always wins. pick up any win in the world, you will always notice that that person has a supreme high level performance state. Then they had a structure to it. Then they had a content or whatever it is that they were doing. That is what you would see. With that, thank you, and back to you, Padmaja.
And thank you, three wonderful panelists, DTM Harsh, Toastmaster Manasa, and Toastmaster Toastmaster Shivakumar. So we all now know the tips of mastering an impromptu. The first is to practice and just express yourself, not think about what audience wants or how you convince. Just express yourself and take that as a joy of expressing yourself. And there is no one formula that fits all, whatever works for you. And let's also implement the tips which DTM Harsh has told in increasing the quality of our voice, calming ourselves, practicing singing. And let's be braggarts of good impromptu speaking. Okay, thank you all.